Hey everybody. So today I'm gonna be working on this HP laptop, running super slow all over, booting up. The internet is slow, everything is slow. So what I'm gonna try to do here is I'm gonna have you literally looking over my shoulder. The camera's right over my shoulder, so you should be able to get a good grasp on this screen here. And it might be a little tedious, and well, it is gonna be long, because the last time when I did boot this computer with the customer, it was extremely slow. I think I could not even check the hard drive. So while it will be long, but this is probably the most common problem with PCs. Slow, laggy, maybe not this slow, but everything that we're going to apply here is going to apply to pretty much almost all slow computers. Looks like we just had an update. Okay, so this PowerShell opening up, that shouldn't be opening up. I could see this had Chromium installed. Chromium is a legit operating browser, obviously, because Chrome was built on it. But generally, when you see Chromium and it hasn't been installed, it gets installed by some malware or something like that. And we see it right over here. So the first thing that you want to resolve or determine when you have a slow computer is if it's the hardware or software, right? So if you have a bad hard drive, it doesn't matter how much you clean it up or whether you do a fresh install, it's still going to have a problem. So the hard drive is the first thing you need to check and make sure you don't got a hard drive problem, which on this one we have not. Actually, we did do. We did do. Okay, good. The hard drive on this was 92%. On HD Sentinel, which is what I would recommend that you use. I do have a video of 3 software to check your hard drive: Sentinel, Western Digital, and the third one we're using, and HD Tune. So you can take a look at that video and start with that as far as your hard drive. All right, we're not even connected to the internet. All right, let's not connect to the internet, because once we connect to the internet, we're going to have more issues. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the startup and get rid of these things, because I'm going to close some of them out, and then I'm going to go to the startup and take some of them out. So if I do a restart, they're not starting up all the time. So let's see if we can just close them out. Do a Control Alt Delete. Go to your task manager. Let's close that. Close that. And when you're in your task manager here, you're going to be on processes and just close down the stuff that you see that's you're not using. Okay, so that Windows PowerShell, I don't know what, that's the one that came up initially. Let's see if we can close that. We got Microsoft Teams, close. We got Chromium down here, and task. And on Chromium, we have, let's open this window up all the way. Dash lane, that opened up. I don't know if they're using it or not, but we're gonna end that. VirtualBox, don't know what that is. Let's close that for right now. Just so we can use the computer. With all these things popping up, we can't even do anything. Desktop games. What else we got there? We got another Chromium over here. And that Chromium opened up by itself. So that's probably in the startup as an executable or something like that. Never asked me. So I've done other videos about looking at your, when you look at your performance, if your computer's running slow, take a look at this here in Control-Alt-Delete under, well, you can look at it there. Yeah, let's do it there. Under your processor, you can see this disk is at 100%. So something is cranking that disk. What it is, I don't know. What is cranking that disk? You got your disk running like that at 100%. It could be either in the background, checking for updates or something like that. There you go. It's McAfee. So if you click on the disk column, it's going to put, whatever's running in order of which one's running the most at the top to bottom. Let's let it settle down a little bit. Actually, if you haven't used the computer and you just started up, it's probably going to run some processes because, yeah, you can see McAfee came to the top, but now it's back down. You got Dropbox, so everybody is doing their thing, and then eventually it'll drop down. All right, so there it goes. All right. All the apps had to do their homework, their catch up, their whatever they do. Okay, so that's pretty normal there, right? The CPU's at 6%. That's fine. We're not doing anything. Granted, we closed a bunch of those things in the startup. The RAM this computer has, how much RAM? It says 72. That's 72, 73. That's not good. That means without doing anything, we got all our RAM used up pretty much. Four gigs of RAM, right? So 4 gigs nowadays, it just does not cut it. We got 4 gigs. And we got an i3 7100. So, not a super fast computer, but, it's not a Celeron or a Pentium either. So it's not a, total dog. And we got McAfee there at the top using up the majority of that memory. All right, so let's just go into some of the cleanup stuff, right? So let's go, and I mean, we got a list here. We got a huge list of stuff that we can do. So we'll just break it up into parts. First, let's clean the startup, just so we don't get those things starting up all the time. Let's take a look at what we have. So we're gonna go to MS at the command line, MS config. And on Windows 10, there's probably a different command there, but that's the old school one. You're going to go here to Startup tab, and then open, no, start, yeah. Okay. All right. So it actually opens up, yeah, back to the task manager. Yeah, on Windows 10, it goes back to here. All right, so we were there already. Yeah. All right, so we just go to the startup again. What I do is put them in order of enabled, right? So if you click on that status bar, you're going to have enabled and disabled. So you have enabled. Everything here is starting when the computer starts, so obviously you can tell, right? You have this browser with no publisher, malware, junk, who knows what's doing that, so get rid of that. Chromium, disable. Another Chromium, disable. Chromium update, disable. Dash lane, but I disabled it for now. If they're using it, it's fine that it'll be in the startup. I am VU quality agent. That's a little app. If they're using it, they could re-enable it. Microsoft Teams. I think Windows 10 just puts that in there automatically to start up. OneDrive. Let me see. So usually if there's a OneDrive or something, I'll take a look and see if the person's actually using it. Is there a login? If there isn't, then it's just Microsoft putting it into startup. And the Teams probably as well. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can't sign in because we're not online. I haven't even gotten online. All right, but we closed up everything. Let's connect online. And then we're gonna update this to, actually we're on 1909, Windows 10 1909. We're gonna update it. But first we're gonna clean all this, crap out and then update it. All right, so we're connected. We'll just let that OneDrive see it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so they're not using OneDrive. So we'll take that out of the startup. Play Store, something here, Play Store, no publisher, disable. The Canon, they probably do have a Canon printer, but doesn't really need to be in the startup. So for now, let's get rid of it. So we've gotten rid of everything in the startup except Realtek HD audio. We need that. And, Windows security. All right. And that disk is still cranking up a storm. I thought I shut down Dashlane. It opened back up. And we're gonna remove, we're gonna remove McAfee because we're gonna wind up installing, and it's probably not gonna let us end that task. No. All right. So when something's this chunked up, I'm gonna tell you where we're gonna start. I would recommend start with Malwarebytes. I'm gonna use our basically a paid version of a Malwarebytes tool, which is just gonna be easier, but you could kind of just run the free Malwarebytes from online. Actually, let me turn this. Let me turn this McAfee. If it's on, let me turn it off, because once we start using some of our software, it'll flag it as malware. Protection is over, so it should not be flagging my stuff. All right. So that's not active. We're gonna run D7. One of the things I like to do as well is I don't want to keep clicking here to see all this stuff that's in my status bar or in my active icons. So let's go to the Taskbar Settings. And I always like to show them all. That way I can just see what's there, which you can see now what's there, right? So anything that's in this bar here is running, is active. So Chromium, even though we closed it, okay, there's a check mark. Let it run in the background now. Dashlane, well, you can just hide it, but it's running. McAfee, got to uninstall it. And then those printers, I could probably exit that. Those are not a big deal, but we'll just narrow that down. Windows security. See if we can turn that off, even though, yeah, we're going to turn Windows security off for now, because when the tools, the D7 tools that we use has all kinds of stuff on there that is going to get flagged as malware. All right. So first thing we did was check the hard drive, then shut down some programs, clean the startup, just get that out of the way so we can actually work. Because if it's all junked up, you're just not going to be able to do, you're not going to be able to get the first malware removal started. So I'm going to run the Malwarebytes tool set. This is a paid tool. It just makes it easier. I mean, it does have some extra bells and whistles, but just ignore the bells and whistles, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do. You're going to run Malwarebytes. Just go to malwarebytes.com and run that. Here, I'm going to run it from here. Because I got the tool and it's just easier. Actually, we got an update available. Okay. But you're going to do the same thing with the free Malwarebytes. That's going to take a while. All right, that scan finished. Found what? 14 infections. Yeah. All right. Click Start Remove. In the meantime, actually, I'm just going to let that run. Yeah, I was going to just do a couple of things at the same time, but let's not. That might take a little while too. All right, there you are. Removal successful. So we're going to close that. It might ask you to restart. In this case, it didn't. Then from there, I'm going to have you go to adware ADWCleaner. And you can find that online as well. I'll put a link, ADWCleaner. I have it over here under Remediate. ADWCleaner. There you go. As in adware cleaner. Let's get a newer version. And you can search that. I'll put a link, ADWCleaner. That's also by Malwarebytes. It was independent. They bought it, I don't know, some time ago. So they're both going to come from the same place. They do different things. They clean up differently. So you want to run that. Just like that. Scan now. And this thing finds all kinds of, I mean, it's not necessarily, malware, but just all the junk, pop-ups, the apps that download with other apps. I'm gonna go to Control Panel and uninstall McAfee because we're getting rid of that anyways. Not that it's malware, but We're going to install Kaspersky Internet Security. Wow, this finished already. Wow, that was quick. All right, so found 31 items. Fake Chrome, install core, legacy, product setup, the bright tag, War Thunder. So I mean, take a look at them. If you see something there that, you know, could be like a false positive or something. These are what they call PUP, potentially unwanted programs. So you can take a look. Maybe there is something there that you do want. Maybe this War Thunder is something that you're actually using or something. Usually it's probably not. This, I'm not sure if the free version online does this. This is gives me a list of pre-installed software. So, I mean, you don't need the software to do that. This gives you a list of all this is HP stuff, junkware, bloatware, support assistant, registration service, Sure Connect. I mean, wow. Games. So this is not malware. This is just, yeah, bloatware. It's probably the best name for that. HP Clean FLC. Some of these, you know, I'm unaware of. You may not know what they are. So if it's your computer, you don't care. You just get rid of everything. But if we're working here on a client's computer, I maybe take out Wild Tangent Game bundle, and they have a game there that they're playing, and they're gonna call me and say, "Hey, why'd you get rid of my who knows what?" So registration service, I'm gonna get that support assistant. I generally like to get rid of it. I'm gonna hold off for now. And then some of these others, I just don't know what they are. Cement. Wow. I'm just gonna get rid of that one, and then maybe I'll follow up. But basically, take a look there and decide what you want to get rid of. If the ADWCleaner, the free one, has that. I'm not sure if it does. Now this one is gonna, I believe, request a restart. If it does request a restart, we've already cleaned that startup, so we're not gonna get all this stuff starting back up again. Okay. No restart. All right, then we'll keep going. So I'm gonna get rid of McAfee. And we're going to or actually you could use this as your part 3 if we're at 3. Actually, I skipped probably some that we should have done after the hard drive check. We'll wind up having to cut this video up and maybe changing some of the parts. So another item, to not give it a number, is go to your programs. I like to put them in order of date. So, because generally if you find, let's say this is a good one, right? So if I find this browser assistant, well, this one doesn't have anybody with it. But generally when you get these add-on software, okay, I can't really give you an example here, but many times, let's say you install McAfee, right? The free McAfee. It's probably going to add something to it. It's going to install some other game or whatever it is, whoever's paying them to install something on your computer. So if you put them in order of date and you can spot one, let's say as an example, this browser assistant, I don't recognize it. We could probably search it, but I'm going to go with my gut and experience and remove it. But I would look at the date, and if with that date there was a couple others that are iffy, they probably all got bundled in. Okay, so that's one of the things you want to take a look at. So browser assistant, realistic media, I'm going to say that's probably junk. And it's not going to let me remove it. Great. Okay. That may have been partially removed because it doesn't have an icon. So if you have that, you could, I could show, well, it's another video. How to uninstall items that you can't install through, you can't uninstall through Control Panel. And there's a software for that. It's, we'll get to that one. RevoUninstaller, but we'll get to that. So I came here to get McAfee, so let's just get McAfee. And that again, just because I know I'm getting rid of it. We're not going to be using that. All right. Let's see if we can go back here and take a peek. So I put them in order of date. If you put them in order of date, if it's something recent, if your computer started getting slow recent and you put them in order by date, you're just going to see the, you'll be able to see what happened recently. Because you might have something that's been there, since 2019. You might be in doubt, but if it's been there for a year, it's probably not the cause, So like, for example, here, it's a software called Show Me More version 2. It's been there since 2019. It's probably not the culprit. .210, yeah, you got a lot of stuff on 210. So this may have done an update on 210, February 10th. That IMVU, it's kind of junk, but kids use that, so I'm going to leave that there for now. And if you notice, exactly, Chromium isn't even here. That Chromium that opens up is not even an installed program. I believe it executes directly from a folder in the startup. So generally when you see Chromium, it's shouldn't be there. Right, so that's pretty much the only one that I can tell you that I don't really see. Dashlane, maybe they use it, maybe they don't. Zoom, AJ Classic, that's a game. That browser assistant, we'll get rid of it later with Revo. It's probably uninstalled, like I said. Actually, it shows the size and everything. So yeah, we'll get rid of that. All right, for now, we're just gonna leave it with that McAfee. That's gonna take a little bit too. Actually, while that's going, yeah, we're gonna get rid of that browser assistant that's there. So another software, again, I'm gonna use my shortcut, but it's called RevoUninstaller. We'll throw the link down there as well. So if you have a software that you can't uninstall that has an error like this one here, it had an error, cannot be uninstalled, this will be a software that'll help you with that. Let me see if I can do that while this is doing this. Maybe not. Okay. Let's go. Where's my Revo at? Bop, bop, bop. Not sure where's my Revo at. Maintenance. Yeah. RevoUninstaller. The version you download is probably going to be different than this one. This is one that I just had on this application that bundles everything together. And sometimes they're not the latest, but just download the latest one. If the old one works, the latest one is going to work even better. Yeah, this is not going to open because we're running. Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to do that. All right, so that's going to open up. It's a little laggy because we're running. Yeah, we're uninstalling the McAfee, and this is an i3 with 4 gigs. So this gives you a list of the applications. Let's do the same thing. Let's put it by install date. Whoa. And let's see if it shows up here. If it doesn't show up here, which has happened, it means it's kind of corrupt and you're just not going to be able to get it. Okay, so there it is. browser assistant, right? You can right click, I believe. Yeah, right click on install. Yeah, so this is part of a game, direct game, you and I. All right, so we're just going to get rid of that regardless. So this is going to run, and if it gets an error, it just continues, and it will uninstall the program. And then it actually goes back into the folders and registry and everything and does a pretty good, nice job of cleaning stuff up. So a great tool when you got something that Windows is not going to uninstall. Right? So we get that same error, right? Because it uses the same uninstaller. But, you know, it's going to skip it and proceed. Well, I am doing a video, so maybe it won't in this case, right? Let's see what it's going to do. Blah, blah, blah. No, okay, so it doesn't do it. So we'll close that. And then this is going to continue anyways. There's 3 settings here. I always use the moderate. I haven't had any issues, but play around with it. Take a peek at what's going on. Okay, so we got that. McAfee's gone. So I can tell you, once we restart this computer, it should be, you know, 60%, 70% better, you know, if not more, right? Because we've taken stuff out of the startup. We ran Malwarebytes, ADWCleaner, got rid of McAfee. Not the McAfee server, but sometimes, I mean, I've had it happen with Kaspersky. If your antivirus software goes wacko, I mean, I've seen them really affect the unit. I had a customer one time, just came into, computer was working fine, just install a antivirus or internet security, which was Kaspersky, and the computer was working fine. As soon as we installed Kaspersky, it turned into a disaster. It started crawling. So something happened with that installation. We had to uninstall and reinstall it. So, and I've seen it plenty of times with other antivirus. They get corrupt or whatever happens, and they could be the cause of the problem. So here it gives you this found leftover registry items. Across the board, I've done this for a long time. Just select all. You know, you might be saying, I don't know, do I click it, do I not? Select all and delete. So haven't had any issues with that. Files and folders, leftover files and folders. Select all, delete. A lot of times there's programs that you'll uninstall them and you'll have, you know, the folders just, you know, the it gets uninstalled, but the folders and stuff like that sometimes will just stay behind. So that's gone. That was the only one really that was kind of iffy. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna do that. Let's see if this got updated. Let's see. Go to control panel and then programs. All right. So it's all right. So we got rid of it, and then we have a pending restart. Let's give it a restart and see where we're at. Okay, so here we're back from the restart. Much better. Let's see where we're at. So none of that stuff is starting up. Even Even the Chromium is gone. I think either Malwarebytes or ADWCleaner got that Chromium, even though it's still installed in the computer. But it got it out of the startup. So let's take a little browse. Let's open up Chrome. Let's see how the performance is doing. Gonna open up my task manager again and just to see. This is, like I said, this is on Windows 10 1909, which is what, a year, 1909, 2004, no, about 6 months behind. So if you got a Windows that's behind like that, you might see this drive going, and that's Windows in the background updating and all that. Remember, it starts downloading and then eventually tells you, restart to apply the download. So that's something pretty common. So let's see how our browser's doing, which before we couldn't browse at all. Got a little hesitation there, but not too bad. Let's take a look at our, yeah, we're gonna have to recommend some RAM. 4 gigs of RAM nowadays just does not cut it, even on a clean computer. And this is not totally cleaned up yet. But it's usable now. Let's make sure, let's set this on, oops, don't want to do that. Did I click that? I'm not sure. Maybe I did. You want to have this here at 720, just for diagnostic purposes, for evaluation purposes. Have it at least on a 720. Kind of see how that's playing. Click on another one. It should really not have a lot of hesitation. And see how that's going. So pretty good so far. There's other little things we can do, to clean up and maintenance, tune up, which we will do separately. But this is pretty smooth. No hesitation there. Yep. And we still got stuff going on back here in the background. Well, there's dropping down, but still with 4 gigs. So that's a basic cleanup there. You might have some other things going on. I'm going to do some system file checker, check the Windows component store components, and do some other things. I'll break that up into separate videos. So here we got a pretty basic cleanup. The one thing I would add, and I'll make a separate video, the one thing that I would add that we skipped in the beginning is you should do a restore point. A restore point is going to save settings, not data. Your data, let's go even before that, your data should be backed up, all the time, especially if you're going to start cleaning up and running stuff, right? The other thing that you want to have set up, and I think Microsoft is going to get rid of this because it's further, I think it's turned off by default. You want to go to your search bar there and type create a restore point. Right? Create a restore point. This is something that you want to do before you start everything, actually. Even before you check your disk. You could do it way in the beginning. You want to take a look here, system protection, if it's on, which it is. Okay, that's good. You want to go to configure. And see how much space you have. You know, you could give it, 10 gigs, 100 gigs. The rule of thumb there, I give it about 10 gigs. Actually, it's up to date. Yeah. So it's currently using 6 gigs. And that's system settings, startup settings, and things like that. That if your computer crashes, one of the ways to recover is by going back to a restore point. So if you do something wrong, if a driver gets installed wrong, things like that, it gives you a snapshot of a previous time. So you want to do that when your computer's working. So you want to do that. We have it on our list to do it before we start and then at the end. So we have a restore point to get to if something goes wrong. And then at the end, we do another restore point. And that way, if something goes on after that, we can go back to the point where we, did the cleanup and all. So this has 10 gigs, so that's fine. And then you're going to go, you're going to go down here and create. And we're just going to call it PC 901. Windows will actually do restore points sometimes when it does an update. Some programs before installing might do it. So it's a snapshot of the settings, drivers, and things like that that you can go back to if something goes wrong. All right, so that's going to take a little bit. So we're going to wrap it up there as far as, there we go. Restore point created successfully. If you want to see your restore points, you can come up here to System Restore. And there should be a couple there. Let's take a look. And that's how you would go. That's, if you're in the operating system, you can go to restore point and go back to a previous time. If it's crashed, then there's a way to get in there as well. So if we go next, we should be able to see the restore points. So there you go. So that's the one we did right now. And this was Windows did an automatic one yesterday night. Maybe there was an update, probably. And then if you click here, see more restore points, you'll actually see some others. So there's 3. There's one in November. There was a Windows update. So that was done by automatically. All right, so that's good. And there's a quick cleanup process for you. And check out some of our other videos, which are going to go over tune-up and other cleanups that we can also do to your machine. Make it run smooth and purr like a kitten. And that's what's going on tonight at PC 911.